Hello, welcome to Nana Talk, where voices unite and communities rise. This is a place where we empower communities, one talk at a time, with real people, with real conversations around the block. Today, we have our guest, Brother Cornell Hayes from the South Dade Connection. How you doing, sir?
We're doing good, Leroy. And actually, it's Cardell Hayes. I know sometimes people get it construed because you get so many people with the Cardell, Carnell, but I am Cardell.
Thank you for correcting that.
No problem.
Cardell
Absolutely.
Hayes.
Yes.
Right, my brother. So, listen, let's get right into the conversation. You know, I'm glad you took the time out of your busy schedule. You know, I just want to say, starting off, brother, I'm so very proud of you, man. I've been watching your movements these last couple of years down south, you know, and just to see your motivation, see how you able to pull the small business community together, you know, to talk about issues and concerns. I get a lot of your emails where you posting events that's taking place all around Dade County, man. Like, I'm so happy to know you, brother.
And listen, let me tell you this. First off, it's all God. I have to tell you, without God first putting me here in this place, in the South Dade community, to do the good work, and then, of course, is the community itself, along with some family. It means a lot that we started a little over 4 years ago with the help, what I consider family, when it comes to people of the community like Mayor Wallace, others that are in the city of Homestead, Councilwoman Bailey that is in the city of Homestead. You know, those were our stepping stones. They gave us, you know, that space, you know, to be able to exist and to grow. So I can tell you so much that has happened. I'm excited. Let's talk more.
But check this out. We got a great 30 minutes to talk about it. How about that?
Okay,
How about
fair
that?
enough.
So
fair enough.
Let's start off by telling the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come
Absolutely,
from.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely born and raised in a small area in Palm Beach County called Riviera Beach. Went off to Florida A&M University, did the good work there.
Go Rattlers.
Go Rattlers, the orange and green.
Okay.
Throughout my travels, ended up coming to Miami, University of Miami, finishing my grad program at University of Miami. Just decided that Miami is it for me, and then ultimately residing here in the South Dade community, more specifically in the Homestead community. And let me say this, you know, just leaning right into where South Dade Connections came from. Believe it or not, when I was in grad school, I actually did a thesis that was focused on the community and connections.
Wow.
That actually looked at how we can help in so many different ways, from technology, health, and education. Those were the three components. Looking at the deep dives on each of those components, how we can help and serve, honestly, the Black community, minority community as a whole. We always look at the numbers. One, Miami-Dade County, 75% Hispanic, and everything else is others. I saw ways in which that we could serve better here in this county, more specifically for the Black community, in those three components. What I saw more so was the business component, you know, because with the business, if you have the funds, you can afford the right type of health care. With the funds, you could do anything you can with education. With the funds, of course, technology, things of that nature. There were so many things that was part of that thesis. I mean, I did very well. Let's just say about that.
So let me ask you. So it seems like the thesis that you done propelled you to where you at now.
It stayed in my heart. You know, I didn't know if I could ever bring it to fruition. I had no clue. What allowed it to become into fruition is ultimately a little bit of in COVID into post-COVID. Mayor Wallace said, hey, listen, we see that you want to do something great for the community. We see that you want to host something for the Black community where we can come together and talk about what is necessary. And so somewhere in the midst of late 2021, 2022, there was this big event that we hosted at what they call the old train station
In Homestead?
in Florida City.
In Florida City. Okay.
And I think you came to that event, if you remember.
Oh, that was the event.
That's it. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember because I think, I want to say it started like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it like 10 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, I remember.
And I never forget, Mayor Wallace said, I've never seen the building that packed before.
Right. It was packed. It was packed.
Right.
It was.
It was something that was necessary to be hosted in far South Dade.
I think that's the first event I ever came to that you hosted. I believe it was the first one. Now, I went to one you hosted last year as well.
Yes.
But that one, I believe, because I met Mr. Carpenter was the one
Willie
who
Carpenter
convinced me.
Yep.
He said, come on down, Leroy. I know it's a little ride for you, but come on down. You're going to meet this young brother that's doing good stuff down south.
Right.
So
and you know, and I'm going to circle back to the board member because he is one of the board members.
Okay.
But that event catapulted us into something great. We didn't know how we would move from there. But let me step back. Our board members that include Dr. Monique Dennis, that include Melvin Dennis, a prior educator, that included Willie Carpenter at the time he was still working at the bank, right? Dr. Evans Branch, and then going into some of our board advisors that included Hannibal and a few others. But we have a great cast that ultimately say, hey, here are the things that we should do to support the South Dade community, right? And supporting it from a service standpoint from Coconut Grove literally to the Keys, but Florida City being, at the time, the base. And we expanded more into the southwest of Homestead, where Councilwoman Bailey said, we see your good work. And we received a few accolades from that standpoint. So moving forward, we were always at events, you know, showing who we are, which is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting and providing a platform for small businesses, nonprofit businesses, and others who are looking to create a business. More importantly is bringing in the resources, right? That's how we saw it, because I had a great friend of mine. His name is Alan Everest from the Miami Bayside Foundation.
Okay.
And he saw the things that we were doing. He said, man, listen, you could do so much more. And then making connections with the Miami Foundation. These organizations are based near downtown. The footprint,
and they've been around for a while, too.
A very long time. Great history in the Miami community. But the footprint in far South Dade is very minimal.
So let's talk about that in South Dade, because I think I opened my first incubator in Goose in the South Dade area. I want to say probably 13, 14 years ago.
Amazing.
That's how long I've been down now. And I'm going to tell you, I knew nothing about the South Dade area. At that time, all I knew was I was going there to the Community Advisory Committee meetings that was selected by, at that time it was called OCED.
Okay.
Now they call it Public Housing Community Development.
Got it. And that's what Goose?
That's what, so Goose had his own.
Okay.
Perrine had his own.
Got it.
Naranja had one. Okay. So because I was funded by OCED,
right,
which is Housing Community Development now, we had to, the agency that was funded, had to go and do presentations in front of the CACs in the communities. And the community residents that lived there.
Okay.
And that's how I got introduced to the South Dade area, and of course, Nehemiah Davis. At that time, he was over one of the CDCs down south.
Now, that's history for you
that's
there.
History, right? So that's history. How I got introduced to it. And because I came to every meeting, and every time I came, I always brought something and did a presentation, brought ideas, and told them what I was working on. Goose CDC funded me $50,000 to open up the first incubator that we still run today in Goose.
Now, that's amazing.
That's how I got introduced. But back then, it wasn't as much housing down there because of, well, even before Hurricane Andrew, it wasn't much housing. There was a lot of farmland, and then Hurricane Andrew just wiped a lot of it off the face of the map.
Listen, that community now is a whole new world.
It's a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how much development done took place down there in the last 15 years.
Literally, after COVID, the expansion of development from transportation, putting in the infrastructure, housing, apartments, condos that are along US 1, which of course they expanded the bus lines, right? Okay. Which allowed people, if they still work in downtown, well, guess what? Now you can get to work a little bit better and back home. And then more importantly, well, where do people shop? Where people get their bread, water, and other foods and other necessities. So those particular plazas that have been developed in those particular areas have been so key to the South Dade community. Now that in itself is economic development, right? People don't understand, where does the development come from? What does it mean? Well, it starts with people, right? Having people, having access to be able to have what they need to survive, right? And then to be able to grow. Same thing with the businesses that we support. Making sure that our businesses have platforms, right? Making sure that they can have the resources, access to capital, all of these different components for, let me be more specific, Black-owned businesses, to thrive. Because that is more meaningful. For what you have been doing, having an incubator to support minority businesses is a blessing, right? Out of this world. And we just look to fill in the gaps. That's how we saw it, right? Let me just say, when we got help to become a TA provider with the Miami Foundation, we couldn't believe that we stepped into something that was so phenomenal. It was from the heart, right? So much from the heart that literally in the beginning, no one got paid for it. We just wanted to do the good work, right? And to be able to serve the community at its fullest.
So, I want to say maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I was in a meeting where there was some conversation about all the development that's taken down south in those areas. And the conversation was the growth of the businesses are not matching. What I mean, they were saying was that there was a lot of housing coming, but it wasn't enough a destination for people to shop. I mean, everything, as far as food, as far as entertainment, as far as art. What you got to say about that?
I think it's the easiest thing is coming, right? All of that is coming. When I look at what's happening in Homestead, they're building their version of a Midtown, right? And they're bringing in Bonefish Grill and some of these other little things that are going on. Florida City, Mayor Wallace, they're looking at their version of Sunset Place Shops, right? They broke ground on it from my understanding, but those are the things that we could say are coming. Now, what does that mean? That means now for the small businesses, right? They can hear the rumbles of opportunity. Now, how can we get them to be able to say, I can get a piece of that? You know what I mean? Let it be from the small contractor that wants to put in some pipes or cables or anything else, or someone who does some type of clothing consignment that wants a shop, but may need some assistance with getting into the space. I've always said it's been connections, right? We live by the name.
Relationships, right?
Come on, listen. A lot of us as Black folks here in Miami-Dade County, it just doesn't happen. Not only the connections, the sphere of influence, right? Because when you're with some of the larger chambers or organizations that are well connected, have money, knowing that, I hate to mention political, factors, but those are influences. And this is why they say from a Black perspective, the disadvantaged, because in my mind is we may not have those influences.
Yeah. So where you see South Dade area in the next 5 years? Well, let's say 10, because oftentimes it takes 5 years just to get to a point to where you can break ground on a project.
Right.
I'm happy you can share that information about the things that they're doing in Florida City and Homestead that people further north might don't know. Or the people who had that conversation I was in a meeting with didn't know.
Right.
So now it's out there. So to think that the housing is way superseding what the commercial is going to do is changing.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so in the next 10 years, how you see South Dade area?
South Dade, this place is going to be phenomenal. It's going to probably have its own little metro type look and feel. I mean, there are already some theaters and things of that nature that are already in place. The development that is coming, where people can stay local to do their shopping, all of their pleasure, things of that nature, rather than going downtown. I mean, people are ecstatic, and people are moving from different areas into the South Dade community. So as I see it, it's like just wait and see, and then just be a part of it. Now, one thing I love about South Dade is we are a community that we consider ourselves family. I know everyone from almost every municipality, and to be able to have conversations, that could be necessary, or just even, hey, how you doing? And so it means a lot to be a part of the community and share it with others, particularly from the small businesses, to say, hey, look, you're going to do great. Just hang around a little bit more, right? You're going to get a piece of this pie. You just have to be patient, bear with it. And it may be tough because today's times, unfortunately.
Right, because the economy,
yes,
prices, and everything going up.
It's tough. But there's no doubt with what is coming is going to be great opportunity for everybody.
So let me ask you, do you think that the population of people in color is going to be able to keep the numbers that it is now in the next few years down south? Do you think a footprint of black people still going to have a large footprint down there?
This is why organizations like yours, mine, organizations that currently exist and have a footprint, reside in South Dade, are needed. We are needed to make sure that our communities can be sustainable,
right,
and resilient.
Right.
We need help, right?
Right.
We hope that the county can be there for us as best possible, and we know they are, but realistically, we may have to collaborate with our community partners and be able to say, listen, we may need to build here for ourselves, to a degree, and to be able to say for our small businesses, black-owned businesses, we're going to have the connections, or some level of influence to help you get to what you need and to remain here in South Dade, particularly far South Dade, because here's the funny thing, right? People don't know this because, South Dade is large. You can put twice of North Dade in South Dade.
You can. In fact, I think District 9 probably got the largest footprint of all the districts in the county.
I would agree. That is massive. So, kudos to Keona McGee for that support, for District 9. But there's no doubt, when you look at from Flagler all the way down, I can't remember the number of streets, maybe 402, right? That space right before you go over the bridge to get to the Keys, that's the support that we're talking about, right? And people reside that far south, So it is meaningful that we look at how South Dade is broken up. We see how, the Coconut Grove, West Grove, and those areas, there's a need in that space. And then we get into Perrine, Richmond Heights. That's kind of like a central South Dade component, right?
Right. I agree with you.
Right. You hold that down, right? But now once we get below the Naranja Goose, right, geographically, we're looking at what Homestead is to be supported along with the black business.
I like the way you said Naranja. How you said it again?
Did I say Naranja?
How you said it?
Naranja?
Say it. How you pronounce it?
Oh, now you got me on spot.
How you pronounce it?
Naranja.
Okay.
Okay.
I like the way you said
it.
I like the way you said it. So I want you to know. I've been working down south so long, like, it's a part of my family now too.
Yes.
So I'm concerned what happened down there too. When I hear people saying, down south has always been forgotten. And at one time, down south was the most underserved area at one point. Like, it seemed at one point like no help was going there. And the help that was going, it was very little. I can agree with that because I was there witnessing, right? So to see the changes that taking place there, to see the growth that taking place there now, man, it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
It is.
And I think, I want to say Commissioner Dennis Moss kicked it off with the Moss Plan. So when Commissioner Moss introduced the Moss Plan after Hurricane Andrew, you start seeing some real development taking place down there. So let's... I like to shout out Commissioner Moss for his efforts down there.
And those are great history moments. You have that, and that is needed so that people understand, hey, whence we come, and then how we move forward for the future, because that's a springboard to where we are now, just getting into the Homestead, Florida City space. I remember an event that we hosted in collaboration with Miami Bayside Foundation and the Miami Foundation. A couple of years ago, it was providing access to capital and other necessary needs for small businesses. And let me tell you, this was a wall-to-wall packed event. This was over at what they call the Youth Activity Center, in Florida City. Right, and of course I had Mayor Wallace and of course members of the council or commissioners, the CRA, John Ward. It was so meaningful, and it meant a lot for the community. People had not seen anything like that before. Like, how is this possible? And who are these other organizations, referring to Miami Foundation and Miami Bayside Foundation? Right, because when you're at a distance, when the visibility is not there, the questions are, well, what is it and who is it and how can they help us? But on that particular day, it was understood. It was known that, you know what, we want to learn more about them because they can help our community. Right. Not only that, I've always been an advocate for those organizations, and how they help South Dade connections to be able to thrive and grow. And to be a big part of the community. We've had, and you was at one of our events, I think last year for Black Business Month, where due to the Miami Foundation, we had the monies to provide grants, for each of the small businesses that were part of our 3-week, what we call Small Business Academy, essentially for every organization that participated, because we always believe in not just giving people money, right? You need to learn. You need to understand what it takes to sustain your business.
But if I remember, y'all made some donations that night too. I think y'all gave out some
awards
that night.
And that's what we considered the small grant for each and every business that participated and completed. They had to go through a rigorous 3-week training program.
Right.
Although it was online, it made sense to everybody who said, wow, they have never seen anything like this before. Right. And we kept track, right? We believe in the data. We kept track of each and every one of those businesses, 98% of those businesses, they've gone on to grow even more. Right. The old philosophy of teaching a man, teaching a woman how to fish existed, right? And that's something that we need to do more of, right? It's easy to give money away. I don't knock any organization that feels like, oh, well, we want the sustainability, but we need to give them money so that can be here. It's better when we have that training in place, right? It made us feel good because it made us feel like, we did the work, right, from a South Dade Connection standpoint. Right. And then, of course, to be able to say, like, hey, we understand your business intimately, and we know how to connect you to others that can help support your business.
So if I recall, I think I sat at the table with Commissioner for District 8, Danielle Cohen-Higgins, at that event, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so she was there supporting your efforts in that event. And it's nice to see what Commissioner Keone McGee is doing down south, too. He's doing a lot of development. Yes. So it's good to see him picking up where Commissioner Moss left off at and adding his own brand as well to grow the South Dade area. So one thing I always like to ask is there anything that you feel or think I should have asked you that you wanted to talk about that I didn't?
Listen, the work that is going on down south is out of this world. I can't even think of all the questions you could probably have asked me, but I can say this. The work is relentless. And when I say not just the small businesses, we're talking about healthcare disparities. We're talking about educational components for our community, right? We understand that the school systems may not be able to do full historical, of Black history. That's okay. I was, at home, when it came to being trained when it comes to education. But there are components out there now, right, that are all about, life skills, history, and things of that nature that are serving of our community. From healthcare, there are organizations that provide free healthcare, right? And we've hosted events where we had a few of those organizations. Let me mention one. It's run by a young lady named Barbara Gallo. I don't mind mentioning the name.
Okay, mention the name. Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead. I know Barbara. Go ahead. Shout out. Go ahead.
Absolutely, because, out of anything else, it means a lot that there are those that know how to help and support our community. We need that because, to your point in an earlier part, we can get lost. There are no resources. Who can we go to for this, that, and the third? I had a young lady reach out to us in the beginning of this year. And she's from a community in Homestead called Coral Gardens. And
Coral Gardens in Homestead?
Right.
I never heard of that.
Right. It's a little bit in the trenches of Homestead. Great community, growing, but has its challenges. Okay. And, she wanted, some assistance, with some of the programs that they wanted for the kids. One dealing with nutrition, the other is some after school. Well, leaning on connections, once again. Right. Bringing in Councilwoman Bailey and others, Trina Harris, from Touching Mommy with Love, right? Because
in the Overtown area. Now she's down south too. Now, right?
That part, in Homestead, literally across the street.
Amazing young sister, man.
She was at our event this past on August 8th, right?
Amazing, yeah.
Organizations like that, people like that who mean very well. People don't know about that, right? And they're in South Dade, right? And so. That's the part of South Dade Connections that many people may not know, but we do the work or triage the activity so that the work can get done.
Good. So, man, these 30 minutes went by so fast, man. It went by so, yeah.
No, man. My watch broke.
But here's the great thing about it is that community newspaper have offered me this every other Wednesday.
I'm glad
I can bring anybody on the show I want to bring.
Wow.
And guess
you
what?
decided
I
to
can
bring me
you again.
Come on, man.
I bring you again.
Thank you.
So this was a lovely conversation, man. I just want to say how proud I am of you, man, and that you continue to stay focused, right?
Yes.
And anything that Neighbors and Neighbors Association can do to help support your efforts,
Thank you,
man,
brother. Thank you,
call on us. We have 3 offices down south, so we there to serve the people and to help you serve the people as a partner, okay?
God be the glory.
So we're out of time, but I want to thank the owners of Community Newspaper again for allowing me this opportunity. It's a great platform for me, and looking forward to seeing you all again